Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still they answer the call. And we say, be tight, be tight, be tight. The Officer Tatum Show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. The Officer Tatum Show. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still they answer the call. And we say, be tight, be tight, be tight. The Officer Tatum Show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. The Officer Tatum Show.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning then, you might as well go on today.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to another Officer Tatum show. Got my T-Force just hanging out right here. I hate these bottles, by the way. We're going to get the black ones here soon. So if you want T-Force, the best testosterone boosting product on the market by far. You can't find nothing better. If you find something better, I give you money back and you can go buy the other product. This is A1. We formulated it in the lab. Anyway, let's get to some news. All right, let's go here for a minute. I want to go to Joy Reid. Nope. Let's go to the firefighters first. I told myself I wanted to honor the firefighters who lost their lives first before we get into the juicy of all of these, this political nonsense that we go through every day that I have to bring clarity to, or that I get to bring clarity to, because it's not a have to, it's not a burden to me. It's actually exciting to me that I get a chance to clarify these things and show that these leftist lunatics are wrong and they're forever wrong. But I want to show a little bit of love to the firefighters that lost their lives. Many of you guys know, if you know anything about me, my father just retired 40 years plus as a firefighter out of Keller, Texas. And he actually retired as a battalion chief from Fort Worth, went on to be the Waco's fire chief, retired from there, couldn't stay at home for some reason, went to Keller, retired from there. And now he's going to be retired after 40 years of service. My dad, I remember growing up in a household, a firefighter household, ever since I was a little kid, going to the fire station, hanging out with dad, realizing that firefighters don't do as much as police officers do. I'm just being honest. We used to have fun most of the time playing video games, but when the rubber hit the road, the firefighters have to respond in ways in which police just don't have the capability of doing. So I really do have a lot of respect, even though I joke about firefighters, but I do have a lot of respect for firefighters and what they do. So the first firefighter, and I'm not really sure if we're going, oh yeah, I see Morrison's shirt. So Frank Hartwood, 42 years old, is the person that you see pictured if you're looking at the screen to your left with the fire hat on. 42, he's a battalion chief, 17-year veteran, Army National Guard member, and he was killed in an ambush. John Morrison, who's the gentleman with the mustache with the white shirt on, he was also a battalion chief. He's 52 years old. And 28 years of service. I mean, that's a lifetime of dedicated service. He was also killed in an ambush. David Tisdale, he's 47. He's a firefighter engineer, and he was critically injured but is in stable condition after surgery. So I just wanted to take the time, and we'll just have a moment of silence on the show to just honor these two men who gave the ultimate sacrifice trying to protect and serve their communities and was ambushed by a senseless nut job who I hope that is burning right now somewhere. So we'll just have a moment of silence for these men and their families, and just think through what you're grateful for. Thinking about somebody else losing a family member forever. This could have been anybody's dad, brother, uncle. Some people have lost loved ones in firefighting and lost them in who's a first responder or whatever the case may be. And so, man, my heart just goes out to people. These men are an image to some people, just an image. But in reality, there's so much more to their lives. I don't know neither one of them, but in order to do a job like this for as long as these gentlemen have been doing their jobs, one served in the military, you got to be an awesome guy. You got to be a man of integrity. You got to be a good guy. Going out and putting your life on the line in the face of fire when everybody's running away and everybody's terrified and scared, these men are putting their lives on the line. And some senseless nut job decided to shoot them because of whatever complicated problems he was having in his own life. It is very, very sad. And it bothers me to my core, to be honest, because they're never coming back. They'll never get a chance to see their family again. All their friends, all their buddies in the fire department would never get to see them, talk to them again. They just become a memory. And it's unfortunate. I want to give a couple updates that I found from yesterday to today. There's a few other things that I think we need to establish here. The West Raleigh guy was 20 years old. He had ambitions of being a first responder, a firefighter. It appears as if he was a homeless person living in the area in his car, unstable family, mom and dad separated. He posted plenty of disturbing things on X, aka TikTok. X and TikTok. Expressed hatred towards police and firefighters. Now, at some point, he wanted to be one, and then he decided that he was going to say hateful things. He also used phrases like, my tick is to make fear, hashtag I sell organs. The FBI are currently investigating that. He posted images, camouflage selfies before the ambush, deleted his account, which is now under digital forensic review. So we're going to see more about who this person really is. According to information I was able to find, his family life dynamic was he came from a divorced family in 2015. Father allegedly made violent threats. Not confirmed that there was no contact order with West. So we don't know if and I made a video and said that I heard it, but it's not confirmed that he had no contact order with his family. His biological father was an Army veteran infantry soldier. And his social posts were disturbing, but he has not been diagnosed formally, or he had not been diagnosed formally with any type of mental illness, although we could see that he was mentally ill. And this is a microcosm of poor parenting. And so when parents are out here being selfish, worried about themselves and not the well-being of their children, this is when things like this go wrong. I'm just going to say this and I'm going to move on. Parents, please, for the life of your children and your family and generations to come, get it together. If you decide to divorce, make sure you're divorcing for the right reasons. Some of y'all divorcing because you don't want that person no more. Well, you ain't the only person that's in this marriage. Your kids are in that marriage too. You don't like Jimmy no more because Jimmy ain't doing what you want to do. But is Jimmy a good father or is he not? No, don't tell me he's not a good father because you don't like him no more. Is he a good father or is he not a good father? That's what I want to know. And maybe you could take a little bit of selflessness and stay in your marriage and work on your marriage instead of separating because you want to be with Johnny down the street because you're going to get a happier life, and you put your kids through turmoil. Now, if a person is abusive and all of that other stuff, then I'm all for you leaving that person. But I would argue probably about 20 to 40% of all marriages that end in divorce are reconcilable. People are just selfish. And it irks me. My wife don't do everything I want her to do. And neither do I do everything she want me to do. If we got a problem, we need to talk about it. If it's big enough to be an issue, we need to talk about it. It's that simple. If we run into a roadblock in our marriage, we should go to counseling. We should be talking to therapists. We should have a healthy relationship with one another. And also, we made a commitment. So if somehow I feel like I don't like her no more, it don't matter because I made a commitment to this woman. And she made a commitment to me. Death do us part. What do y'all say that for? You might as well get up there and say, hey, when it get tough, I might leave you. Just want you to know. But when you get up there and put your hand before God and say, till death do us part, then that's what it is. A lot of people are so selfish. I see people talking about they divorced somebody because they just weren't getting along no more, or they just grew apart. Shut up. You finna grow apart with the next man you with. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox. Let's get to some of these videos or some of this contextual stuff. So it was rumored that his parents were MAGA supporters. Let's put that clip up. And obviously, I think the woman is his mom and the gentleman is his stepdad, not his biological father, because obviously they were divorced in 2015, which is before any of this has happened. And they were trying to associate him with MAGA and Trump supporter, and they found clips of him holding a gun with his mama, and they're trying to push this as if he's a MAGA guy. But when you look at his actual photos, and I'm sure we have his photos, when you look at the actual photos of him, it paints a very different picture. And if you ask me, he looked like a little soy boy, a transgender, transformer. This to me doesn't look like I'm a MAGA supporter. I'm out here for blood. This looks like an emo. I'm damaged. My daddy touched me, or my daddy wasn't there. My mama's boyfriend is an alpha male, and I hate living under his household because he tell me to clean up my room. I mean, here's some other footage of him. Look at him. That don't look like a Trump supporter, bro. And I'm telling y'all, man, and people don't believe me when I say this. This trans stuff is a mental illness. And there's a lot of mental illnesses that people experience, and they have medication, they go through therapy and other things to mitigate the experience of that mental illness. Right? If you have a bipolar disorder, they have certain drugs you can take. They have certain counseling sessions you can go through. They have ways you can mitigate in a natural sense. You know, when you see the manic state coming on, you understand it, you acknowledge it, you try to overcome it. There's ways in which they help people go to the next level of being able to live with some of these mental illnesses. If you're schizophrenic, they have pills for you. If you're schizoaffected, they have pills for you. I'm talking crazy today. I got like 2 hours of sleep. If you are having some type of mental issue, you can have a psychiatrist evaluate you and help you through the process. I'd say in theory. Now, if you gay or you trans, they just leave you out there on your own. Because if you ask me, I think homosexuality is a mental illness. I mean, it's clearly a mental illness. It don't mean you're a bad person. It don't mean that you're evil. It don't mean that people should treat you wrong. It just means that something ain't clicking right in your mind to make you think that another man is attractive, or a woman think a woman is attractive. Clearly, something ain't right there, because that's not genetically how we were created. That's not how human beings came to be. There's 8 billion people on planet Earth because of heterosexual relationships. There's a lot more of those than there are of gay relationships, clearly, because you cannot reproduce and become fruitful on the earth with 2 dudes or 2 women. It's not going to work. And historically, through evolution, whatever you want to believe, none of it leads to homosexuality being a normal human condition. It's a normal, I think it's become normalized today. I think it is an experience within the human condition, but it's not a normal experience. Just like if a person is a psychopath, it's not, most people are not psychopaths. That's an anomaly. That's a mental illness that a person is going through. And also with the trans stuff. I mean, why do you think this kid looks trans, look like he's acting trans or transitioning and having these issues, and he become a killer? That's because the trans expression is an expression of something going on deeper on the inside. The fact that you want to look like a trans person, you want to transition, that's not your external. It's something on the inside that's reflected on the way you behave. All right. I think we got his parents. I see a tweet, mother, stepfather, and a MAGA hat. Oh, we already got that. We dealt with that. We got pretty much all of it. I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. I mean, it's crazy what's going on with this kid, or what had gone on with the kid. And thank God he's no longer with us to terrorize the community anymore. Okay. All right, let's get on to the Trump visiting Alligator Alcatraz. Just so you guys know, I got a shirt on Tatum store that's an Alligator Alcatraz shirt, and it's fire. Just so you know, if you want to go to tatumstore.com, tatumstore.com, you can get the Alligator Alcatraz. The guys are going to bring it up to me as soon as they finish printing my printed version. So everything we design, they print one for me to wear. And so as soon as they print mine and bring it up here, I'm going to pop it up on the screen for you guys. If you want it. If you don't want it, don't worry about what I just said. All right, let's go to some content here. Alligator Alcatraz. What is Alligator Alcatraz? Well, in Alcatraz, they created a facility to house illegal aliens as they're processing them out. There's nothing wrong with it. Look at it. It's clean. They got good beds in there. It looked like it's a brand new facility, air-conditioned facility. What's the problem here? This is better than some people's houses. To be quite honest, some people living in squalor, leaking roofs, roaches everywhere. I mean, this place clean, and it's free to them. And they go in here, they get processed out, and they get on about their way. How is this a negative thing? Unless you're a socialist nut job and you think every illegal should be in this country illegally draining the resources, no matter if they're a criminal or not. But Donald Trump toured the facility, and I think we got a clip of that. Roll it.
Look at the president now. You see the Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem is with him today, along with the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And as they take this tour through what we're calling, because they do, Alligator Alcatraz, now we're getting to see why they call it that. There is effectively, and I haven't heard anybody else use this wording, maybe they have, but it's like a moat of alligators that encircles this place, as many sides as it has. So, you know, what's interesting about this.
Today has been a weird day. Did I say Alcatraz? I meant the Everglades. I think I said Alcatraz. It said Alcatraz. It's the Everglades. It's the Everglades in Florida. So, which is, I heard, I ain't never been there. I heard there's a bunch of alligators out there. So if I said Alcatraz, forgive me. Just like I messed up a word on one of my other videos that went viral, with 1 million views, and everybody hear me say the word wrong. Anyway, continue.
It's exactly transparently what the president has been talking about via the governor of Florida. And if we get a microphone that we can listen to, we will try. Let's try here. I think we may be just too far away from the microphone. Now, you know, no one can find that better than the president of the United States that we have in Donald Trump, because he sees where the cameras are.
Look nice to me, man. Probably smell good in there, too. Maybe not when they pile people in there, but right now it smells good. Floor is clean. Everything is good. So let's talk about a little bit of what the reality is, and I have to play the clip of Joy Reid after this. I got, just when you think she can't get no stupider, she just gets stupider and stupider. But we're gonna start with just a couple facts, and this is the key components here when it comes to this Alligator Alcatraz thing. Florida will deputize National Guardsmen as immigration judges to speed up the process. Traditionally, processing some of these people out would take about 3 years, and now they expect it to take about 3 days, which would be so innovative and I would argue would be in the best interest of the United States of America. Donald Trump is urging all red states to follow suit with what Ron DeSantis is doing out there in the Everglades. And then also, this facility is currently have a capacity of 3,000 beds, expandable capacity of up to 5,000 total detainees in this one facility. And it can scale based on needs the way it's designed. It's one of the largest rapid build immigration detention centers in U.S. history, located in Florida's Everglades, using natural terrain and security measures. Now, I want to play the clip before we go to Dum Dum McDum Dum McDum Dum. I want to play the clip of Donald Trump talking about how they got to train the illegals not to run over these alligators. Go ahead. Roll it.
With the Alligator Alcatraz, it's the idea that if some illegal immigrants escape, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something. I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If the snakes are fast, but alligators are, but we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%. Okay?
Donald Trump is hilarious. Let's go to Joy. Let's go to Joy Reid. Just viewers' discretion is advised. Not only are you looking at a primitive human being, but she's also one of the most disingenuous human beings to ever exist. Now let's play this clip, and I hope you're sitting down. And if you're driving in the car, listen to this. Make sure your seatbelt is on, and don't run over somebody because this woman is insufferable. Roll the clip.
I had to forget about him, but Ron DeSantis is still governor of Florida. He took the Comfy Couch hosts on a tour of the concentration camp that he's building in Florida in order to round up brown people, and throw them in a camp because he doesn't want them in Florida. Surprise, surprise, the economy of Florida is going to be severely harmed by rounding up brown people who, by the way, all over this country, Latinos are afraid to go to work. Anybody who is perceived or looks Latino is afraid to go to work. I know people who are...
Anybody who's Latino is afraid to go to work. This is a concentration camp. What example of a concentration camp does Joy Reid have in her repertoire? Last time I checked, the only concentration camp of reference is the concentration camp in Nazi Germany, where they put Jews in and they eventually killed them through gassing them and all kind of other nefarious things. That's what last time I checked, Jews were not illegally in Germany. Last time I checked, there was no immigration violation. Last time I checked, they didn't put these people in there. People would argue there's a myriad of reasons, but one is because of their race. They put these people there because they hated the Jews. They had all these negative anti-Semitic theologies that some people have today about them then. That's how they ended up in a concentration camp. And it was brutal, and it was millions. They had every intent to kill these people and get rid of them off the face of the earth. But we're talking about a 5,000, 3,000 bed place where they're giving people reasonable accommodations to process them out of the country because they're here illegally. And that's a concentration camp to you. Let me tell you this. I don't know how a single Jew is a liberal, vote Democrat, or would ever watch Joy Reid or Whoopi Goldberg, any of these leftist nut jobs speak. I don't know how they support people at Harvard. I don't know. If you are a Jew, what are you doing? Just like the dumb Negro, don't be a dumb Jew. Don't be dumb. And I'll say this because people say, you always talk about black people. Look, there's plenty of intelligent, smart black people. I think some black people are, the world wouldn't be what it is today if it had not been for certain black people in this country. Same thing with Jewish people. I mean, I think you go down the list. White people, boo, 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 boo. But don't be the dumb person in your race. How is it that these people get a pass. Jews are still watching Joy Reid and these other nut jobs, and they are the biggest anti-Semitic people on planet Earth. And the reason I say that is not because of your obvious signs of anti-Semitism. It's the subtle signs of degrading what happened in Nazi Germany. When they called Trump Hitler, that's minimizing, in my opinion, what Hitler actually did. Because if you're going to compare Trump to Hitler, you got to say one is like the other. Okay, which one are you going to minimize to? Donald Trump has not killed a single person. Donald Trump has not ordered the mass detention of any citizen for nefarious reasons. So therefore, you have to say that Hitler is more like Trump then. You got to downgrade what Hitler did to make him more like the present day Trump. Because you can't say Trump is like Hitler whatsoever because he didn't do none of the stuff Hitler did. So you got to diminish what Hitler did to try to make him like he's a reasonable, respectable president. It's insane to me. Look at what they do with the Palestine stuff. Look at what these people are crazy. They just throw around concentration camps, Hitler, like it's just something to just be played with. It's insane to me. And I hope these people are, I hope they just keep making me money. Can I say that? I hope they keep doing stupid stuff so I can go to YouTube videos and get millions of views on these videos. Thank you for your service, Joy Reid. Okay. We got something else from Trump? No, there was that one clip. Okay. Let's move on. I want to get to DHS Kristi Noem and Donald Trump are looking into prosecuting CNN. Now, let me just say this. I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm going to give my commentary so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Roll the clip.
And Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that as obstruction of law enforcement. Your response?
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with the partnership of PAM if we can, because what they're doing we believe is illegal.
And they may be prosecuted also for having given false reports on the attack in Iran.
Yes.
They were given totally false reports. It was totally obliterated, and our people have to be celebrated, not come home and say, what do you mean we didn't hit the target? We hit the target person. The pilots came home and they said we hit the target person. So they may be very well prosecuted for that. What they did there we think is totally illegal. Okay, let's go. Follow us. Okay, you got it. Hi, Brian.
So what does that mean? If this was now let's talk about this app, right? It's an app called, I think it's Ice Block. It's called Ice Block. It's a mobile app that let users report sightings of ICE agents. App created says it's a warning tool for undocumented immigrants. About 20,000 people are on it, mostly in cities like Los Angeles. Let's talk about this for a minute. If Ice Block was like a traffic jam, so you can avoid traffic jams or speed cameras or things of that nature to give the public an opportunity not to violate the law, because currently while you're driving down the street as a United States citizen, you're not in violation of any law. Generally speaking, not unless you're riding with bad tags and no driver's license or whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying. You're not just inherently driving down the street. You're not in violation of any law. So these tracking apps are to help you not to violate the law. But if you're an illegal alien, you've violated our laws. Them trying to help divert illegal aliens away from prosecution when they're illegally in our country has to be a crime. And also doxing these ICE agents, because if one of them get hurt because somebody wants to go and protest and act a fool and target them, now they know where they are located, facilitated by CNN. To me, that is a problem. That is a big, major problem. Like I said, I wouldn't have any problem with this if this was legal citizens having the right to be exposed to stuff that government is doing. But these are illegal aliens that they're trying to help divert prosecution. That's almost like aiding and abetting illegal immigration in this country. If you need, what they should do is an app that to help you self-deport, or an app that help you get your stuff together in the courts. Send an app to the nearest immigration office that you can go to and get your stuff together. Instead of trying to tell you to avoid law enforcement. These people are so crazy. And then Donald Trump spoke about the leak in the secret Iran report. Go to clip 3. Roll it.
That it was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the Pentagon's intelligence arm. And it is worth noting that it is a very early assessment. The strikes were only a matter of days ago, and the intelligence community is still gathering intelligence. They are still working to come up with a full, comprehensive picture of what exactly happened here. But based on a battle damage assessment that was carried out by U.S. Central Command, essentially looking at the images and looking at what was actually damaged, the Defense Intelligence Agency has assessed that the core components of Iran's nuclear program are largely intact, and that Iran's nuclear program has essentially only been set back by months. Now, we presented this information to the White House for comment, and White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt, she did acknowledge the existence of this assessment, but she said in a statement that the administration disagrees with it. She said, quote, "This alleged assessment is flat out wrong and was classified as top secret, but was still leaked to CNN by an anonymous low-level loser in the intelligence community. The leaking of this alleged assessment is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets, total obliteration." Now, it is worth noting here that there has been dissent, I should say, within the intelligence community, within the defense community, about just how much of an impact these massive bunker buster bombs would actually have on Iran's nuclear facilities. It was far from certain, given that these bombs had never been tested in an actual combat scenario, whether they would actually penetrate those very, very deep underground tunnels that lie underneath these nuclear facilities. And what we are told is that as of now, this Defense Intelligence Agency assessment, it does conclude at this point, again, it is still very early, that those underground facilities, including the centrifuges, including the highly enriched uranium that everyone has been talking so much about, those are largely intact. Now, of course, this does stand at odds with what President Donald Trump and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth have been saying in recent days about the impact of these U.S. military strikes. Of course, President Trump said it was totally obliterated, and Secretary Hegseth did as well. And he actually also provided CNN with a statement.
I'm tired of listening to her talk. Okay. So pretty much what it is par for the course. They want Donald Trump to look bad. They want to always err on the side of making him look illegitimate. They took leaked information, which is illegal. Then they broadcast that preliminarily leaked information to the public, which was a complete lie. They knew it was a complete lie. Even I forget her name. She's such an amazing woman. I got to think of her name. It'll come to me here soon. Condoleezza Rice. Even Condoleezza Rice came out and said that no one should ever be, I guess, jumping, at the opportunity to report on a low-level finding, which was top secret anyway. And to think of dropping them bombs like that, highly trained military personnel dropping 30,000-pound bombs. I mean, come on, bro. Something is broken. Something tore up. Something got obliterated. And then, within hours of the strikes, think about this. If that thing go down underneath the ground and blow up a laboratory in a facility, how quickly can you get down there and assess that? You think they blew up this part and then they go, oh, let's make a door for them to go down there and check everything. How you going to get down there if it just blew up the whole site there? How you going to even look at the stuff if it blew the site up? The assessment has to take a little bit of time to figure out what exactly happened. Ain't no way in the world you drop 30,000-pound bombs. I think they dropped 5 or 6 of them. Ain't no way in the world you dropping 30,000-pound bombs and it didn't do nothing. Nothing was ever the site of 30,000-pound bombs being dropped on planet Earth is going to be chaotic. It's going to be a mess. I want to circle back real quick and just talk real quickly about CNN's response. It said that it did not promote the app, that little app thing. It said it did not promote the app, just reported on a public tool. It defends the report as protected journalism under the First Amendment. First Amendment does not protect aiding criminal behavior. And they do have a duty to be mindful of what they're putting out. Let me just give you an example. If there was an app that helped pedophiles avoid detection, do you think that CNN will report on that app just because it's just general tools to the public? Why wouldn't they report on that app? Because they don't want to promote something that's illegal. They're not going to promote something that encourages illegal activity. You wouldn't do it if it was somebody avoiding a pedophile app. You wouldn't do it if it was somebody avoiding arrest. Like, just say if they had an app of people selling dope. You can sell crack on this corner, and we'll tell when the police come in so you can run off the corner by the time they get there. Would CNN promote an app of helping criminals get away from police while selling drugs? Here's the hot spots on the border where you can bring in fentanyl. Do you think that they will put that out there? Why? Because they have a liability of exposing people to encouraging criminal behavior. You can be vicariously responsible for certain things when you post them or talk about them. If I had a guy come on here and tell y'all how to do a Ponzi scheme, I just mentioned his scheme and put his phone number at the bottom so you guys can call if you was interested. Now people begin to call and get scammed because I promoted it on my show. I'm vicariously responsible for that. That's why I'm not promoting things on my show that I don't believe in. Comprende? All right, let's move on. We got Stephen A. Smeezy. Stephen A. Smith. He might as well call himself a Republican and go join the Trump administration and be the press secretary. Because Stephen A. Smith is pretty much conservative. And I'd say he's conservative light. What does conservative light mean? That means I'm really a conservative, but I got to tread lightly around my friends and around some of these people because I don't want to get thrown into the pigeonhole. And why would they throw him in the pigeonhole? When you're making when you got a 5-year, $100 million contract, you really don't want to alienate opportunities for you to partner and be friends with and go to the parties and hang out with people. I don't blame Stephen A. Smith for that. But I do think Stephen A. Smith, that are all the people that have an opportunity to speak up that are conservative or have conservative leaning ideas, Stephen A. Smith is the number one person that's willing to put his neck out there and do it, even though he signed a crazy contract, $100 million, if I'm not mistaken. But listen to what Stephen A. Smith have to say about this guy, what's his name, Zoran Mamdani, who is a complete lunatic. But let's play what Stephen A. Smith had to say about it because I thought it was very interesting. Wrote a clip.
Mr. Zoran Mamdani. He is the man, the Democratic Socialist, self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist that ran for the mayor's seat in New York City. Anyway, he had a big win in the New York City's mayoral Democratic primary last week, and it turned heads throughout both parties. Mamdani, a member of the state assembly since 2021, would be the city's first Muslim and Indian American mayor if elected. Incumbent Mayor Eric Adams skipped the primary and plans to run as an independent in the general election. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, whom Mamdani defeated, has not ruled out the option of running as an independent himself. Cuomo and Mamdani represent the Democratic Party's ideological divide, for those of you who have not been paying attention, with one candidate, Mamdani, being a young progressive who identifies as a Democratic Socialist, and the other, obviously Cuomo, who's an older moderate from a legacy political family. There are some who fear the direction of the party is headed with this, where the party is headed with this shift in New York. They should be worried. They should be worried. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very, very clear. If the Democratic Party becomes the likes of Zoran Mamdani, who, by the way, I like, I'm not trying to throw any shade on him or anything like that, but if the Democratic Party becomes him, you have no chance. You have no chance on a national basis in terms of the presidency. In Senate seats in the House, you have no chance. You have no.
Let me help interpret what Stephen A. said, because I don't think he said he liked his policies. I think he may have met him before and said he liked him as a person, which I don't know how you like a socialist nut job who's a terrorist, in my opinion. But I think that's what he was saying. So I don't want people to misconstrue him saying that he liked his policies. I think Stephen A. is saying he don't have a problem with him as a person. You know, he's charismatic and all these things. I don't think he's talking about policies. Roll the clip.
Chance. I want to be very, very clear about that. You might have a democratic socialist sprinkled here and there, but that ain't what America is. America's about capitalism. America's about dollars and cents. America's about an economy, a flourishing economy. Okay? And you know what it's not about? Free stuff.
I'm glad to hear him say that. Coming from a capitalist himself, I'm glad to see Stephen A. saying that. Let's just bring this into perspective real quick. Because I think people don't understand the ramifications. You do, right? But your family members don't, because they stuck on stew-headness. But nothing in life is free. When I hear people say, and it's the stupidest thing I ever heard, Canada has free health care. It ain't free. Your taxes is paying for that. You paying now and not when you get to the doctor. And then when everybody has it's an overwhelming level of access to it, you got to wait a year to get something you get done in America. If you put a little money behind it, instead of them taking your taxes, you put a little money behind it, you get it done in a month. They got to wait a year. One of my really good friends, Alan, Canada, he had to go to the doctor and they said, yeah, you need to really get this checked out and we can get you in. Just say it was May. They said, yeah, we can get you in July. He said, excellent. No, July of 2026. July of next year. But they say he needs to get checked next year. Why? Because everybody's abusing the system because they think it's free. Nothing is free. Nothing. Everything comes with a cost. And let me say this. I was thinking of this in the car before I got out the car. Well, I was thinking this in the car before I came into work today. I said, wait a minute. We do have free health care in America. Why don't Americans talk about the free health care we have? If you're poor, you don't pay for medical insurance. You can apply for access here in the state of Arizona. Every person I arrested when I was a cop in Tucson had access cards. If you're a single mother and you don't make a certain amount of income, you got an access card, free medical insurance. If you poor in this country, you can go down to a food bank. You can be on food stamps. You get free food. So in America, we offer free food and free medical insurance. But the masses don't get it for free. Why? Because the masses aren't getting their taxes ripped from them in order to pay for the process. Let's go with Mamdani. And I want y'all to hear the full spectrum of how silly this dude is. I want you to hear how bad this socialism stuff is. And then I want you to hear what he said on CNN, which is insane. Roll the clip.
Socialism.
This is Zohran Mamdani. He's running for mayor of New York and currently polling second. Here's what he normally sounds like.
We gather tonight in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country, in the history of the world.
But in an interview in South Africa, he sounded a little different.
I actually created a playlist for Mira, who also happens to be my mother. Nepotism and hard work goes a long way.
And in an interview with the Turkish-American podcast, Mamdani sounded different again.
I'll be honest with you, Brother Mansoum, is that at this point, not many people are thinking about it.
And here is Zohran during his rapper days.
You know, it would have been here earlier, but worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour. As in, you can't
celebrity
just
things.
You can't just stop it.
So homeboy fake it in a $2 bill on a Monopoly game. This guy is fake. This guy is a snake oil salesman. And the only reason we're talking about him because he made it through a primary. People voted for this guy. He's fake. I can smell the snake oil from here. Let's play the CNN clip real quick so you guys can get a glimpse of how he's proposing taxing the wealthy but don't know how to do simple math. Roll the clip.
The city tax, though, and I know that takes effect with people right now, the top rate of people 50,000 or more. So if you're going to be adding 2% to people at $1 million, I just did the math, right? Well, but that's going to be an increase of 51% of what they pay now. I'm not saying cry for them. I'm saying if they leave, you're not going to get that money. And when you increase someone's taxes by 51%, aren't a lot of people going to leave?
We're saying we're increasing it by 2%.
Actually, no, Zoran. That's not at all true. And the fact that you don't know your own tax plan is insane. So, Mamdani, you proposed a 2% tax increase on anyone earning above $1 million annually. Of course, it depends if you're filing jointly, separately, or, single, but it always caps out at 3.876% right now, before Mamdani's plan. So, as Mamdani wants to do, he wants to add 2% on the highest tax bracket. So now it would be 5.876%. We tracking? So if you file single, every dollar over $50,000, you are now going to pay 5.876%. For those that don't understand, it's a progressive rate. So $0 to $12,000, you pay that percentage, and so on and so on. So you only pay now 5.876% on every dollar over $50,000 if you make more than $1 million. But as the CNN reporter, I can't believe this guy has me defending CNN, as she said absolutely correctly, this would increase about 51% of your taxes. For example, even if you made it exactly just $1 million, technically it'd be more the more you make, but let's just say at exactly $1 million. That means $950,000, because remember, the $50,000 and before is progressive. The $950,000 you would be paying from 3.876% to the 2% increase of 5.876%. Okay, so for example, the $950,000 before Mamdani, you'd be paying $36,822. After the 2% increase that Mamdani wants to put in, you will now be paying $55,822. That would be about a 51% or so increase in your taxes. So the CNN reporter was right. And the fact that Mamdani didn't understand that and was like, well, it's actually 2%. This is the guy people voted for. How does he not understand how it works? He may have actually understood how it works, and he just didn't want to answer the question, so he tried to deflect. That's common from them. But she's right. A lot of people, some may stay and not care, but there will be a lot, especially because I was going right at $1 million. If it gets more and more worse for the more you make, they're just going to leave. Of course they will. Anyone would.
Now think about this for a minute. I want you guys to put this in perspective so you can understand how they're going to essentially take advantage of people without consent. Let me explain this to you. One thing is, as mayor, he can't raise taxes anyway. But if his dreams came true, they're talking about raising corporate tax. As a CEO of a company, you have a profit loss. You have it's all kind of sheets. If you have a business, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't have a business, it's irrelevant. But at least you have a profit loss sheet that you can look at every single year. And then, of course, some of the revenue that you make, it have to be allocated. You have to allocate quarterly for taxes and stuff like that. Now, the CEO gets paid from the corporation, right? A W-2 employee of the corporation, unless you're a CEO and you do an owner's draw. But for the most part, you're a W-2 employee. Now, the business revenue, if you tax them according to what he's trying to do, go from 7% to 11% corporate tax, which is insane. And then you're going to tax the guy who's the CEO making millions of dollars at a higher rate. Now, his taxes done gone up. So what do you think is going to happen with a business like that? They have a lot less revenue, bottom line. And then, so they may have to make some cuts. They may have to cut the CEO's salary down a little bit because they have to make their extra tax accommodation. And then he finna lose money at the top. So if he's still making over $1 million, even if they cut his salary, he losing money on the job, and he's also losing money through taxation. Now, who would stay there if you have enough money? You just go move to Florida, and you can still stay in New York. You just live your primary residence in Florida so you don't have to pay taxes in New York. Rent you a little condo or something out there and live in Florida. Fly up there on your private jet whenever you want to, or fly commercial in first class, whatever you're doing. But these things that he's proposing is just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Let's go on to a few other things that we found about this Mamdani guy. Let's go to the Nepo baby. Oh, no, we did the fake accent Twitter thing. Oh, I want to do this real quick. I want to talk about his he come from wealth. Now, this is one of the another snake oil salesman tactic that this guy uses, and ChatGPT is running cover for him, right? And I'm gonna show you why. So I put in ChatGPT, did Mamdani come from a wealthy family? It said, no, he did not. No, he did not, while explaining that his family's wealth primarily came from his father, who was a long distinguished academic or had a long distinguished academic career. It said he was in the middle class. However, he attended a Bank Street private school with a tuition of $66,000 a year, which is today is $66,000 a year. But on here it says he was middle upper class. $66,000 a year tuition is not middle upper class. And then his father was a professor who was renowned. That's why he was able to get into the university that he did through nepotism. And he was able to go to a private university or a private school, which was $66,000 a year today, which is probably very similarly expensive then. And then ChatGPT ended it, right? I'm like, well, I'm confused. The next thing I asked ChatGPT is, what is his mother's net worth? So they saying that he did not come from wealth. He lived in a middle-class family. Although he went to Columbia, I think he went to Columbia, and he went to a private school to $66,000 a year. So then I said, ChatGPT, what is his mother's net worth? It says his mother is well-established filmmaker and producer. According to recent LinkedIn-based estimates, her net worth is over $22 million. His dad is a professor. You know they make six figures at least. He goes to a high school, a private school, I think it was a private school, $66,000 a year tuition. Then he goes to a university. I'm sure it wasn't free. And if it was, maybe he got a discount and it wasn't free. And then his mother's worth $22 million. And so I asked ChatGPT, I said, wait a minute. I said, so then does that make him come from a wealthy family? I'm confused. And then it goes through, after I asked the question, it said, it's fair to describe Mamdani as coming from a well-off, upper middle class family. Though not ultra wealthy or billionaire level rich. That's not what I asked you, and nobody thinks you got to be a billionaire to be rich. Nobody said you got to be an ultra wealthy person. I said wealthy. I said rich. If your mama's worth $22 million and your dad is a renowned professor for decades, and you were put up in one of the most expensive private schools, I think that means you're wealthy. And it goes down to say, oh no, not ultra wealthy or billionaire level. That's not what I asked. And so I think they run and cover for him too, if you ask me. But again, like I said yesterday, you'll never see socialist people or programs in places that don't have money. You'll never see a person who have a lot of money. I mean, you'll never see a poor person pushing socialism. They can't. They won't. They can't. And now you say people that are ridiculous and poor. Yeah, you have those people that will push that. But for the most part, the people that come from socialist places want to come here. They will die to leave socialism to come to capitalism. And you can ask any person that ever come from a communist or a socialist country, they don't want nothing to do with it, and they want to be in America where there's ultra capitalism. And then conversely, you see the rich, privileged, spoiled people wanting to introduce socialism for the government, but not for their own lives. Let's see how philanthropic Mamdani is. I bet he's not very philanthropic. But you want the government to be philanthropic with everybody else's money, but you won't do it for your own money. Somebody make this make sense. The rule of thumb is that you can't have socialism without capitalism. You can't fund your socialist utopian dream without first having a lot of money to do it. New York City was built on capitalism. New York City was built from the ground up. Immigrants coming here with nothing in their pocket but a couple change, and now they got, massive levels of success. That's what America is. That's what the American dream is all about. But the people who are ultra privileged, that didn't never work for nothing in their life, they have this utopian idea of everybody should get equal pay. When you work for it, everybody shouldn't get equal pay. And if you feel so good about doing that, how about all of you socialists, leftists, start a nonprofit where you can help people through your nonprofit instead of trying to leverage the government to do your dirty work? All right, let's see if we got another clip of him. Did we play clip 4? Let's go to clip 4.
That Mamdani is too extreme and the absolute wrong choice for New York City mayor. Why?
He ran a campaign based on a bunch of promises, free everything, without any real economic plan to pay for it other than raising taxes. We are facing a cost of living crisis. It is hard for families to get by. By raising taxes, you are not lowering costs. In fact, you're just passing them on to other folks. New York City is the economic engine that drives our state, and we need to make sure New York City thrives.
The mayor of New York can't raise taxes. That's not what he doesn't have that power. That belongs to the state legislature and the governor.
Yes, that's in fact, and he ran this campaign with all these promises about all these things that he was going to do, and most of the things that he promised to do, he actually cannot do legally. And the things that he can do, he's grossly underestimated the costs by tens of billions of dollars. I think it's incumbent upon my...
Am I muted? All right, let's go to the tweet photo, and then we're going to do Trump's response to it. So let's go to the tweet photo real quick. It's clip 4.
This is the first part. Then here's the second part. This is his immigration.
Okay. So on the immigration form, it says, have you ever been a member of, involved in, or in any way associated with any communist or totalitarian party anywhere in the world? He should have put yes. And then here's another aspect here. It says advocated, supported, promoted any of the following, or being a member of, involved in, or in any way associated with any group wherein or anywhere in the world that advocates any of the following. Opposition to all organized government, world communism, the establishment in the United States of totalitarian dictatorship, which is communism. So they ask him these questions on the form, and you have to fill them out honestly. And right now, he's telling us right now that he believes in communism. He's claimed to be a socialist Democrat, which is a communist. And so therefore, people are saying that he actually lied on his immigration form. Let's go to Trump's tweet, clip 5. All right. It's finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Mamdani is 100% communist lunatic. He has just won the Dem primary and is on his way to becoming mayor. We've had radical leftists before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looked terrible. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. He's got AOC +3, dummies all. Oh, okay. AOC 3 dummies all backing him, and even our great Palestinian senator crying Chuck Schumer is groveling over him. Yes, this is a big moment in history of our country. Let me just say this too, because I like to be a little bit superfluous at times. I don't think nobody's taking this guy seriously, to be honest. I don't think nobody taking him seriously. I think what happened was, you had Cuomo, who's a terrible candidate, and you had this guy who's slick talking. In a referendum against Cuomo, they voted for this guy. I think Mayor Adams will take this as a victory. I don't think people should take it lightly, but I think Mayor Adams will take this as a victory. Why do you say that? Because all the Republicans need to vote for Mayor Adams, and all the Democrats that got any common sense will vote for Mayor Adams. Even if you don't like him, you'll vote him in because this guy is far, far worse. All right, just a quick update. The big, beautiful bill has passed the House of Representatives. Has passed. Hold on, let me look at this real quick, because I thought it passed the Senate, but then it said it passed the House. Let's let Stephen Miller talk about it a little bit, and J.D. Vance, who broke the tie, and then we'll go from there. Roll it.
I've spent my entire life in the conservative movement. Since I was a kid in high school, working, dreaming of the day where we could have a piece of legislation like what exists right now, Sean, what President Trump has brought to the precipice of passage. Each and every one of the individual titles in this bill would be considered one of the great achievements in the history of the conservative movement. The title, for example, building the missile defense shield for the United States of America, Sean, so we can be safe, our children can be safe from foreign adversaries in this growing era of intercontinental ballistic missiles as nations race for supremacy. The section on this bill enshrining border and homeland security, this is the most far-reaching border security proposal, homeland security proposal in my lifetime. Sean, not just my lifetime, going back to Eisenhower, going back to since we've had conversations about the border, Sean. I take this seriously. I've stood by the families whose kids have been murdered by illegal aliens. We made them a promise. Most importantly, the American people voted to fulfill that promise in the last election. This bill fulfills it. It is the largest tax cut and reform in American history. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, 100% expensing for new factories. Think about that. Every single business owner with a dream of manufacturing in America can deduct 100% of that cost to make the American dream come true here in the United States. Here's another one for you, Sean. The largest welfare reform in American history. Work requirements on food stamps, work requirements on Medicaid, the two largest welfare programs that exist, and now we are attaching work requirements to those programs. Orders of magnitude larger than the welfare reform that Republicans enacted into law in the 1990s. I am sick and tired of the lies about this bill that have been perpetrated by opportunists who are trying to make a name for themselves. This is the most conservative bill in my lifetime. Tax cuts, defense, border security, homeland security, welfare reform, and the largest spending cut in one bill that has ever been enacted. So, Sean, let's work together. Let's pass this bill. Let's get it to President Trump's desk by July 4th.
All right, so it looked like it passed in the Senate, not necessarily the House, which would make the vice president the tiebreaker. So I think that it's going to have to come back down. I should have done my research on this because I thought I had it figured out. Now I'm looking at it. It's more complicated than I think. I don't know if this is going to Donald Trump's desk yet. Let me try to look it up while we talk. Put J.D. Vance on the TV until I figure this out. Roll it.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being evenly divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
So, yeah, what it says now is that it passed in the Senate. Obviously, Vice President was the tiebreaker, J.D. Vance. And the next step is that it head back to the House for final alignment and approval before hitting Donald Trump's desk. I knew that was what it was. I just wanted to make sure because this thing says the bill passed the House. I think we titled the segment wrong. So it appears that it made it past the Senate. It's going back to the House for final approval once it gets past the House. We have a majority in the House for sure. It'll go back to Donald Trump's desk. Donald Trump will be able to sign it into law, and we will have probably one of the biggest economic booms that we've seen. Just imagine how much more money people are making with no federal income tax on tips or overtime. It'd be insane. It's a way that people can get a raise without burdening the city system or taxpayer dollar. That's pretty much what it is. All right, let's talk about real quick. I want to bring you guys to a sponsor of mine who's an incredible sponsor, been a sponsor of us for a long time, and that is Masa Chips. So if you're looking for a healthy alternative to your chip brands that you have in your house with all the seed oils and all that old crazy stuff that's going to eventually, I can't promise it'll put you in the ground, but you ain't going to feel good eating seed oils and all this other stuff. Just look at the ingredients. If you got more ingredients than you can fit on a hand, you got too many ingredients in your chips. So Masa Chips has incredible chips that are natural, organic corn, organic grass-fed beef tallow, and also sea salt, and then whatever flavor profile that it has. None of that seed oil, pesticide-free, you name it, it has it, and it's an incredibly good tasting chip. So for those of you who watch me, support me, all you got to do is go to the link in the description section or put in Officer Tatum at checkout. Get 25% off your bag of chips. You will not regret it. We have tons of these chips at the house. Habanero is my favorite because it's a little spicy. And I don't know if Masa want me to say this, but man, if you go to Trader Joe's, they got this buffalo chicken dip. If you get the Habanero Masa chips with that buffalo chicken dip, Buffalo chicken dip got a 96% score on my wife's Olive app. That just tells you if the product is good or not. It got a 96%. You mix that Habanero with that buffalo chicken dip, insane, bro. It's so good. I told people on my Instagram, I said, I'll give you a money back guarantee. If that chip and that buffalo chicken sauce on it, I'll pay for it for you. Now, I can't do it for everybody, so I'll do it for at least one person to show you I'm serious. But anyway, go to monsterchips.com. The link will be in the description. Make sure you put in Officer Tatum so you get a discount. If you don't want a discount, then you ain't got to put it in there. But if you want 25% off, go ahead and take advantage of that today. All right. So I'm hoping that the big, beautiful bill gets to where it needs to be and it passes. And then also, I did an interview. We're going to post an interview today with a gentleman who we kind of went into detail about the benefits and the things that need to be added or taken away from the big, beautiful bill before it passes the House and goes to Donald Trump's desk. But inevitably, I think it's a great bill, a great idea. And I really love the fact that Donald Trump is doing exactly what he told us he was going to do. And it's sad to see some people turning on Trump and saying that he's a bad president or whatever the case may be because they didn't like what they thought he did in Iran. And now, they're going to be eating crow for a while because this guy is epic with immigration, with the economy. He claimed he did a trade deal with China, which was confirmed from China. I mean, the guy is going to get a Nobel Peace Prize. He's doing everything he said he's going to do. Maybe not in the time in which he said it. Of course, he's ambitious. But I think that eventually, before it's all said and done, he's going to have the things done that we asked him to do, which no other president would even have the gall to do. So shout out to him. Support Donald Trump for that. And let me get to the super chats and we're going to get out of here. I love you guys. And eventually we'll get it together where we can have your super chats pop up on the screen. Y'all done heard me say this 100 times. I don't know what's delaying us, but hopefully we get it done soon so we can get this done. All right, Anthony, thanks so much for being a 13-month member of Tatum Squad. 13 months of B Tatum speaking the truth. Wish I signed on sooner. A personal request: could you keep me in prayer? It's too much to type, but God knows. You know what? I'm gonna say a quick prayer at the end of this, okay? For you, Anthony, and everybody else that's out there as well. I'm gonna say a prayer on the live for you, Anthony, for sure. And then I know there's a lot of people that need prayer. I need prayer, y'all. I feel like I want to find a better connection going to church. Because, me and the wife, we love our church that we go to now, but I just want something different. You know what I'm saying? I just want to have a deeper experience. Going to a big church kind of leaves you out to where, it's just too corporatized. I want a more intimate experience at church, and I want y'all to pray for me that God lead me in that guidance, and we're going to pray about it all. And then also, man, your boy y'all know me as the nice Brandon Tatum, man, but I fire off it sometimes. And I really want God to give me some peace and to be able to deal with all this craziness that I got to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But anyway, we all need prayer. KTD, I finally ordered T-Force. Would you recommend taking it with my pre-workout? Thanks for your continued work. I look forward to your show every day. I appreciate it, KTD. What I will say is do not take it with a pre-workout. Take it by itself. Take it with food. Take it before your workout and let T-Force be what you need for your workout. Because we put things in T-Force to give you stamina, endurance, and everything that you need. So technically you wouldn't need a pre-workout. The only way I say if the pre-workout is clean and it's natural and it's not some stuff where you're putting a bunch of chemicals in your body, I'd say if you just like that jittery feeling or that feeling of feeling amped initially, and you like the way that feel, I'd say you can still take the pre-workout, but I would suggest that just take T-Force, because what happens is you get T-Force in your system and over time you begin to see it grow more and more. It's a testosterone booster naturally. So you're not taking testosterone, you're taking supplements that would encourage your body to naturally produce testosterone. And also there's supplements or ingredients in the supplements that help you with energy and stamina and all the things that you need. So it is a complete supplement. And I take it, now I got to get my butt back in the gym, but I just eat when I take it when I eat. And I don't take anything else as a pre-workout. Let's see. Hello, love your channel. Lisa, thanks so much for the super chat. Queen, welcome to the Tatum squad. CJM, the big, beautiful bill needs to be revised. 2 points I don't like in the defense budget is really high, and getting surveilled more is not good. Okay, noted. Let's see. Let's go up. Keep doing what you're doing, Officer Tatum. It's making a difference. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gary, thanks so much. Breaking, jury has reached a verdict in the P. Diddy trial on all charges but the RICO charge. We need to look that up. Can somebody pop that up for me? This Diddy thing?
They just came up with the Diddy verdict.
So somebody said the Diddy verdict was just given, which would be kind of breaking news. Let's see. John, thanks so much for joining the Tatum squad. I appreciate you guys joining. I got Masa chips. They're good. And T-Force. I appreciate it. Masa chips is good, man. Like, look, I'm not going to tell you to get something that I don't take, because it's pointless, right? If I tell you, go get this product and I don't take it and I don't like it, then you come back and you're mad at me. I don't have to do that. There's plenty of really good products out there. What we do, and I'm going to tell you guys how we got the Masa chips endorsement or sponsorship, is because we were taking them, eating the Masa chips at home every day. Wife ordered $120 boxes of 6 Masa chips or whatever, how many of them come in that box. And we said, wait a minute, let's see if they're willing to be a sponsor of our show, because we love eating their chips all the time. I'll say almost every sponsor that we have is because either somebody recommended it to me, right, and it was a great product, or it's a product that I actively was using before we got the deal. And I said, I got to share this with my audience. Okay, and it says, member for 2 months. Let's see, Gary, thank you so much. Faith, freedom, and prayers. We got this. Gary, also thank you for another super chat. So we're gonna try to see what's going on with this Diddy trial, and then I'm gonna say my prayer, because I promised I would do a prayer at the end of this. So can somebody give me something related to the Diddy trial?
Yeah, we got it right here.
They reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're still deadlocked.
Can you just print that out for me on the?
Do I just pull it up now, or?
They didn't announce anything.
So if they have a verdict on those counts, just give me the count and what the counts are. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's rape or whatever he got convicted of. But. They reached a partial verdict according to what the TV says. Is this playing? Is what we looking at playing somewhere?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, can you fix my screen, please? All right, I don't hear anything. Let's see if we can.
Remaining count, he said the jurors have a right to deliver a partial verdict, but indicated that it's more of a last resort, and that given the short amount of time the panel has been deliberating, he'd rather give them more time and wait for a full verdict. So again, we're just following it here on Live Now from Fox. Some people, maybe reporters, walking out of the courtroom right now as they are the ones delivering all of this information. We do know that there are no cameras inside of the courtroom. So just simply sketches and information, verbatim words and different quotes that we're getting from all of the testimony of these incidents that took place, these alleged incidents on the ground. And of course, I do want to put up just some of these, again, just these charges that we saw as I want to read them out to you again here in full, talking about these, the counts against the music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The count one, that racketeering RICO conspiracy, that's the top count. And then sex trafficking, 2 cases of that, 2 and 4. 1 for victim number 1, Cassie Ventura, the ex-girlfriend, and also Jane, the ex-girlfriend referred to as Jane, accused of coercing her into freak-off parties through similar methods, and also you can see there transportation for prostitution. So just several of the counts, and I want to continue to reiterate that because it's an interesting component, a very important
So
component.
mute that. Let me finish this real quick because I got it in my hand right now. Okay, so as of 4:30 p.m., put it back on the screen. As of 4:30 p.m., the jury has reached a verdict on count 2, 3, 4, and 5, but remain deadlocked on count 1. With the defense arguing them or urging them to continue deliberating rather than delivering a partial verdict. So when you look at it, it says racketeering conspiracy alleged that he led and participated in a RICO-based criminal enterprise using bad boy-related operations to facilitate and conceal illegal activity, including sex trafficking. Then you go on to the next one. It says 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. Prosecutors claim that Diddy coerced at least 2 women, Cassie and another referred to as Jane, to engage in sex acts through intimidation, drug use, violence, and other coercive tactics. And also 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. These counts allege that he knowingly transported or caused individuals to travel across state lines to perform commercial sex acts at parties and events he organized and facilitated. And so I'm thinking that's count 1, 2, and 3. And maybe those are the 3. Hold on, am I missing something? I see 5 counts. Count 1, 2, 3. Oh, 2 counts of that, 2 counts of that. But it says that he on count 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I think the only thing that they don't have is the racketeering conspiracy. They haven't made a judgment on that. But the 2 counts of sex trafficking and 2 counts of transporting, I think are the ones that they found him guilty on. Yeah, deadlocked on a racketeering conspiracy. Verdict returned on the remaining 4 counts, the 2 sex trafficking and 2 transportation charges. Okay. Judge has asked juries to resume deliberation. So right now, it was breaking news. I just want to say it because this is a significant trial. And this is one of the biggest rappers, one of the biggest record labels ever to exist. And this is one of the, I don't know if anybody this prominent has ever went to prison for a very long time. Maybe. Bernie Madoff, I don't think went to prison longer than this, but I don't think anybody that significant did this much time. Jeffrey Epstein would have been that guy, but P. Diddy is going to take his place, and hope P. Diddy don't unalive himself in a jail cell. But this is what we have right now. It looks as if they're going to continue deliberating. It looks like the racketeering conspiracy case is going to be a little more challenging. However, he is found guilty, according to the deliberation, on 2 counts of sex trafficking and 2 counts of transporting and engaging in prostitution. Those are heavy, hefty federal crimes. And then let's see if we can do a little search on the penalties for that. Can you just see what the penalty would be, the time that he could actually do in prison for those charges if convicted? I mean, if
15 years to life in prison.
Total?
Yeah.
Or for just racketeering?
For the current ones, he's...
So
if convicted on all counts, 15 years to life in prison.
Yeah. Because racketeering, the RICO case is the biggest one. I think they give you the most time. These other ones, I think he's still going to do some time in prison. I think we can figure it out, though. Y'all just give me 1 second. You just tell it to me.
Up to 20 years per RICO count.
Yeah, but that's just the RICO charges. So you could say if Diddy, for the charges that Diddy is found guilty of, what time could he serve? Because it'll just be really for the 2 counts. Because if they find him not guilty on racketeering conspiracy, and they just found him guilty on the 2 counts of sex trafficking, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, then I think that's a different look. And you can play the news clip while we look this up. With sound.
Any agreement on this? What happens then?
So the judge did not give an Allen charge, which is what's known as a charge that you give to a jury when they indicate that they're hung and that they need more time to deliberate. And the judge gives them, basically tells them that they need to work together, try to persuade one another to come to a verdict, that he doesn't want it to be a hung jury. So he did not give them an Allen charge.
All right, so just a little bit. I don't want to get to the nuances. I hadn't followed this case whatsoever, but I think it's very important to note all this. It's crazy development. And as soon as we get some more information, we'll throw it back at you guys. Follow me on Instagram. We'll probably put the report on Instagram if he's found guilty of racketeering by the end of the day. If it comes out tomorrow, we'll let you guys know. Love you. And let me say a prayer real quick because I said I was going to do it. All right, y'all ready? If you are ready for the prayer, I'm going to give a few people time to bow your heads. To get yourself in a place where you can be willing to pray or at least listen, right? All right, Lord, thank you so much for waking us up this morning, giving us a new opportunity to serve you. Lord, right now we pray for those who are watching the stream. We pray for those who have made prayer requests. And the gentleman that made the prayer request, I want to make sure I call him out by name. What was his name again?
Anthony Ramos.
Anthony. And God, we pray for Anthony. You know what's in his heart. You know what his prayer request is. And we want to join together, all of us, to pray for him, to lift him up in prayer, to believe that, God, you can do anything in not only his life, but in the lives of everybody that's listening that believe. And we pray, Lord, that you give us increased faith and you give us the ability to build relationships with our family members and get to a place where we can have peace and we can understand how to navigate issues that happen in our life, not just remove the issues, Lord, but to help us navigate the issues to become better on the other side. We pray for our country. We pray for people that are hungry and are homeless and people that are without, and allow us to be better at being the hands and feet and physically making things happen, not just lift them up in prayer. We know the combination of prayer and action together is what you want us to be engaged in. So, Lord, we thank you for all the things that you blessed us with in the past, and we pray that you continue to bless us in the future as we seek you earnestly and with our whole heart, and not of necessity or not to gain something selfishly by praising you and pursuing what you call us to do, but doing it with selflessness in mind and with other people's best interests in mind as well. So, Lord, we thank you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thank you guys for listening. God bless you. God bless America. I'll see you on the next one.
Oh, the